communications and print media. Everything SOS Graphic Design does has a single unifying objective: to set your business apart. We are at your service. Call 313-342-2166. That's 313-342-2166, or online at www.sosgraphicdesigns.com. Have you ever searched through a shelf full of greeting cards and still couldn't find the one that echo hypocrisy? Well, first know more and call Design by D. We offer birthday cards. Our cards are one-of-a-kind keepsake items that your recipients will want to place on their mantle with all of their other beautiful and treasured items. We also offer holiday cards. With Design by D, no holiday will go unnoticed. Our unique dream cards are sure to celebrate all holidays. We also have cards for special occasions. We are your one-stop shop for unique and three-dimensional handmade greeting cards for all occasions. Specializes. We also take custom orders. Every card is crafted with care and made slow. So call Design by D today at 601-451-9536. Or visit our website, www.designbydonline.com. Come check out the new Sisters Grade 2 Hair Braiding and Natural Hair Care Salon, located at 18070 Long Elliott Street. Our new salon is spacious with adequate parking, Wi-Fi, and all brand new state-of-the-art salon equipment. Come meet your local hair braiders and natural hair care specialists, and check out our many hair care services, such as hair treatments, box braids, cornrows, tree braids, cabana twists, children's braids, natural twists, lock extensions, kinky twists, goddess locks, updos, full weaves, and more. Please feel free to visit us on the web at www.sistersbraid2.com or call 313-826-0498. Here at Sisters Braid 2, we offer exceptional care for exceptional hair. We look forward to seeing you. Sisters Braid 2 is a proud recipient of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund.
We would like to invite you to help support the efforts of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. Visit the website at www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. That's www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. We often hear how we need to work together to rebuild the city, and we're actually doing it. You can make online donations and click on links to track the progress of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. And for more information, 313-868-0000, the local number. Again, 313-868-0000. Support the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit. FM 88.1 WHP, the Highland Park, WVIE 107.3 FM Charlotte, Amalia, Virgin Islands. The views and opinions expressed from the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates, management, or sponsors. Brothers and sisters, are you tired of reading the Holy Scriptures?
The recording has started. This conference is being recorded.
Sure. Have you ever tested that when you feel no? You got different people in your own. Then let's talk to one another. Let's reason with one another. On Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man, a live broadcast every Sunday at 12 on TV 33, FM 88.1 Basic Cigar, and Comcast Cable. So why don't you call and let's discuss the Holy Bible, and if you have one, the Holy Quran, and come to an agreement about the Holy Scriptures and the truth. So tune in to a Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man every Sunday at 12 noon, right here on TV 33, FM 88.1 Basic Cigar, and Comcast Cable. You can call in live on the air at area code 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. Of course, the area code that's 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. And now let's go live. Scriptural Discussion, the Son of Man.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just, I greet all of you who have the hunger and thirst for Allah's righteousness. I greet you all with the greeting words of peace. May Allah's Salam Alaikum. I want to give those who have disagreements with me. First, I want to say that I can appreciate an honest disagreement. I can appreciate people who say, I don't want that. What I can't stomach is people who say, yes, I want that, and then they come in, they join with me, supposedly. And then they try to corrupt everything that I'm doing. I used to wonder why, why does it say vengeance is mine? I thought the Lord loves us. Now I understand. You didn't have to say you was with me if you're not with me. All you had to do is just stay out there. When I didn't want to be part of church, I left church. I didn't sit up in there pretending like some of them people I saw in there doing. What is the point? If you don't want this, why don't you just leave? But I know why. Because as Jesus said, they don't go in themselves and they don't want others to go in who trying to go in. Tear it up like these people in Congress and in the White House. It ain't enough that they don't care nothing about the country and don't care nothing about the people of the United States. Instead of just going on where they want to be, they want to drag you down with them. And make up some phony, they start some phony gossip to justify what they're doing. I tell you what, you who think you know something about me that makes me a hypocrite, come on out with it. Tell it. Just remember now, I'm going to tell you to find in the scripture where it condemns me. So have your evidence ready. The scripture says just the opposite of what you're saying. It asks me, why do you forbid yourself that which Allah have not forbidden you? You ungrateful dogs. Lie on me right in front of me. Don't have sense enough to know I hear you. It's just like this man sit up there and call the Democrats a mob. He called the Democratic Party a mob. Donald Trump did. The mob of Democrats. And who down there on the southern border treating people like they treating babies and mamas like they a threat to America or whatnot for just coming here? I remember when I was a little boy, you know how little boys do. They had a little brick fence, Mr. and Miss Bacon, and BACON, and we'd be on our way to school, and they had this little brick wall, but it was little small. It wasn't, might have been a foot and a half high, and you know how little boys do, little children will do. We jump up on the wall and run down the wall, and and keep going. And Mr. Bacon would never say nothing, but Miss Bacon, she would, if she saw you on that wall, she'd say, "Get off of my wall!" And she was just a mean old lady. And it seemed like the older she got, the meaner she got. I think she was mad because she was getting old. That's all I can think of it was, because Mr. Bacon, he wouldn't say nothing. He was just as nice. He's old too. But, I look at these people. They see that. I remember when I was looking at, I recorded it with President George H.W. Bush. And I don't know that man personally. I don't know nothing about his personal life. I saw a lot of stuff on the internet that they accused him of whatnot, about the death of President Kennedy and all that kind of stuff. I mean, every time you look up, somebody else getting accused of murdering President Kennedy. But unlike most foolish people, I don't believe everything that I see somebody or hear somebody say. I need proof. I need you to show me how you know this. People that don't care nothing about other people, they find fault in someone who does care. They're mad at me because I show that I care about people. Because whenever they be nice to somebody, it's always with an ulterior motive. So they always think somebody else, somebody who's just kind, he must, what's his angle? What is he like when it's just you and him? That's what they want to know. I don't know how people can live double lives. I really don't. I mean, that should be I think that must be very burdensome, where you got to remember which person you're supposed to be because you in front of this person or whatnot. Why don't you just be yourself? I'm me. That's who I'm being. I'm being me. Now, if you got a problem with that, that's just you. As long as Allah ain't got no problem with me, I don't care about what your problem is. But anyway, I look at here these people. You know what a lame duck Congress is? It's a Congress that most of the people done that might have been in power. Like a president that's a lame duck president is a president that, you know, he either done already lost or he can't run no more. And his time is almost up. So, you know, it don't, at least that's what I'm getting out of what they be saying on TV. Now, maybe that ain't it. You're welcome to tell us what it is. I don't claim to know more about your house and your business than you do. Of course, there's a whole lot of people know more about Islam than Muslims. Yeah, they come up in all the time. You know, Muslims is touching, throwing. It's just like people that don't believe in religion will come in and tell you about God. They know more about why ain't no God than you do know why it is a God. Do you understand? A fool always think he know more than everybody else, even in spite of evidence that shows him that he does not. I had to put that in there because I know a lot of you saying that, well, you think you know more than everybody else. I know more than everybody else. Or I wouldn't be standing up here. I'd be sitting where you is and somebody else be standing up here. So let me show you what. Now, you know what. So generally, when the people done voted to change power, the ones who lost, they don't try no stuff in no lame duck session. The transfer of power, they say, this is what belief in a democratic republic means. That the majority, whatever party, whatever the majority party is, they get to represent the people because they were put in there by the majority of the people. Do you understand? They get to call the shots. But you know, when you know, you saw The Godfather, when people moved into the town where the Corleone family was in charge, they thought that it was time to move him out. Is that right? So they start bumping people off and all that kind of stuff. Right? Ain't no voting going on. They don't care nothing about it. There's just people who want power, want to keep power. Right? Okay, those who done lost power now want to keep power. So they really don't believe in the system that the system of government that they have, which is a democratic republic. Huh? If they really believed in a democratic republic, they wouldn't be drawing all of these, they finally explained to me what a gerrymandering district is. It's a snake like this, like a salamander. Well, a salamander ain't no snake, but it's a lizard, reptile. The district, instead of being just if you're going to break up districts, just let the chips fall where they is. And if it's a lot of Democrats there, a lot of Republicans there, that's just coincidence. It's not by design. But them gerrymandered districts, they design districts where can't nobody win but one, but the Republicans. Do you understand? Might be, and I'm exaggerating there now. Might be two people in a district, and they get to vote for the representative for that district. That's a little extreme, but I'm just showing you my point. The majority they don't believe in majority rule. They done drew it up where the minority get the rule. Huh? Well, that's the way it's actually been. The white people ain't no majority on the earth. They're a minority on the earth. But they've been ruling. Now, let me explain something else to you. 1 million people is a minority if there are 1 million individuals and 10 people is united. That's what the devil, he come up with, divide and conquer. If you can get people against, that's what's happening with America right now. They dividing America, the people of America, against themselves. And as long as they can get you to look at each other as not Americans, not citizens of the same country with the same aspirations and goals and the same mind, but get you to look at your differences, like getting people to think each other is different because they got on a different suit. It's like out on the football field. I mean, it's all human beings out there, but depending on what color you wearing, they don't like you. You're out there at odds with each other because you got on a different uniform. Do you understand? So, in order for the devil to rule, he had to keep love out of your heart. And that's what all these games and all of this sport and play and all that stuff is about. You notice when you can be playing a game when we was in high school, man, we have a football game, and after the game there was a fight. And the visiting team, if they was visiting us in Watts, I didn't buy into that, but I watched it happen. Man, everybody, if your team lost, you go over there and jump on the other people. I mean, what is that about? I tell you what it's about. It's keeping hatred in the heart. Wherever hatred is, love cannot be. Make no mistake. The law of physics, the law that of no two objects can occupy the exact same space at the exact same time. That's not just a physical truth. That's a spiritual truth. Jesus said it like this: no man can serve two masters. Either he will love the one and hate the other, or he will cleave to the one and despise the other. You can't spend half of your time with hateful actions and the other half with loving actions. That don't work like that. That ain't. No, you may go through the motions of being kind, but your heart is filled with hatred. And so you really don't know how to express kindness because the motivation for kindness is not there. Do you understand? You notice you don't never hear no psychologists and stuff coming up trying to tell you nothing that I'm telling you wrong. It's just like everybody else. I have great respect for doctors and people of that took time to try to learn how to body ticks and whatnot. But when it comes to practical application, all of you are lost. Most doctors don't live no longer than the people they practice medicine on. There's no substitute for righteousness. I don't care how much medication you take or whatever. The wages of sin is death. That ain't gonna change. The designer of these bodies, he put that fail safe in there. The body don't even function properly if you're not at peace. If it ain't at peace, I don't care what kind of medicine you take it. It ain't gonna help you if your mind ain't at peace. The body can't be at peace. It can't function properly because the mind messing it up. I was talking to one of the believers today about our bodies. I mean, the human body is already perfect. I mean, what can you do to the human body to improve upon it? If you cut it, it go to work and heal itself. Even when it's got a fool in charge, it has automatic corrective properties. So it is not the human body that's being perfected. That's been perfected already. It's the mind that's in the human body that's imperfect. That's why whatever little peace you have is not even peace. It's temporary enjoyment. Most people think enjoying yourself is peace. Well, that's true. Don't you talk about how you enjoyed yourself at the party? There wasn't no peace at that party. It was a lot of stuff that you ain't had no business doing, but you sure had fun then. They got a song when I was growing up, the little cartoon song, and they used to sing it a lot. They ain't never said nothing about having no peace now. They say in the morning, in the evening, ain't we got fun? In the noontime, yeah, we got fun. We ain't got no peace. Peace only has one source, and that's Almighty God, and living according to the dictates of Almighty God. That's what brings peace to the human being. And there is no substitute. So, it's just like you'll hear people all the time. So-and-so. It's just like when the messenger was asked, what did he hate the most? He said a peace breaker. And we really understood it on a very superficial level. Because if we had really understood on the level that we should have, we would have known that peace don't come from outside of you. Peace breakers are thoughts and things that the only one can break your peace is you. By not conducting yourself in a manner that helps you to retain peace. You see? For instance, you go to somebody come in your house acting a fool, and you say they broke your peace. All you gotta do is tell them to leave. You don't have to get huffing and blowing at them and going on. Just say, hey. See that dough you gave? Get out of here with that. Do you understand? They can't break your peace. You just hold your peace. As Allah said, hold on to your peace. Hold on to the teachings that I gave you. And I will fight your battles through those teachings. You see? Whatever city you go into, whatever house you enter, salute it. And let your peace settle on it. But if it returns to you void, well, get out of there. Treat it like going to the wrong street. What you do if you drive down, make a turn on the wrong street? You stop and turn around and get off of that street. Is that right? So as I was telling the believer that cars, they come off of the assembly line. When the last time you seen a car on a car lot, new car, and you walked around and found some dents on it? Aren't they? You don't find no dents on them, do you? They didn't come off the assembly line dented up. That only happened after they have a driver. Is that right? You notice, you watch a newborn baby. Most newborns come here skin like velvet. Huh? They ain't got no smoke on their breath. They ain't got no issues until a mind take charge, a driver, and a witness. You notice when you can be driving down the highway and have what you call an accident. Accidents don't happen. Very seldom you see an accident happen and somebody say, my wheel came off and put me over here, or something happened to the car. There's nothing happened to that car but a stupid driver. That's what happens to our bodies. A stupid mind, a stupid driver. And that's you notice when the police pull over there and say, what? The police don't have to look around for no witness. There's the witness right there. The driver is the witness too. Is that right? And he will say, okay, tell me what happened. Well, you was the driver, but you also the witness to where you drove and how you drove. Is that right? Well, there's not a soul, but over it is a driver, but with it comes a driver and a witness. That's in chapter 50 of the Holy Quran. Now understand something now. You don't realize sometimes that your thoughts are being unconsciously shared while you think you're keeping it to yourself. you know the body's shouting. They call it body language. The devil know you can't hide nothing. You know, I mean, how you think he came up with that polygraph test? He said, yeah, and if you can beat the polygraph test, he know when you're doing that. Do you understand? But anyway, he can, you know, if a good questioner can get you, you know, and if he can't get you on that, he gets you on other language. The heart go to speeding up. You know, say, you know, you lied. So, you know, our bodies was not made to lie. They weren't made to be untruthful. Our bodies was made to be the temple of truth. God is the truth. We are the temple of God. The book said the head of every man is Christ, and the head of Christ is God, which means the head of every man is God. And God don't like ugly. When you see dents in your car, you either get it out or you junk the car. Repentance is the same way of saying, let's get the dents out of you. If we can't get the dents out, then we got to junk you. But God don't like ugly. In chapter 50, and let's cut to the chase, the 16th verse. Look at the title of it. The resurrection, It says, and certainly we created man, and we know what his mind suggests to him. And we are nearer to him than his life vein. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught me what that meant. He was letting me know that he said Allah is closer to the believer than his life vein. Well, he's closer to his messenger than his life's vein, because as your thoughts are, the state of a being is determined by the state of his thoughts. You notice they say you in school, we learned these things and didn't know what, nobody broke it down for you like I'm doing here. But it's a happiness is what? It's a state of being. Angry, a state of being. And because they didn't really know what they were saying, or wasn't going to give it up if they did, they don't tell you that's the state of mind of a human being. But happiness, sadness, anger, anticipation, all of those adjectives is states of mind that you find in beings. Do you understand? So certainly we created man, and we understand what his mind suggests to him. That's what know means. It means understand. And we are nearer to him than his life vein. Your jugular vein is inside of you. And Allah says, well, when he said we are nearer to him, well, that's why the scripture said when the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and ain't just Allah ain't the only one with me. He said, and all the holy angels with him. We are nearer to him than his life's vein. And so it says, when the two receivers receive, these two receivers on each side of my head here, they call ears. When the two receivers receive, sitting on the right and on the left, he utters not a word, but there is by him a watcher at hand. Oh, yeah. Anyone who can be said to be wise has to be self-conscious. You know how people say, you better watch yourself. That's just another way of saying you better be aware of yourself. You run around watching other people when you should be watching yourself. For you the one that need to stay in control of yourself. If you hope to control anything else, you better first learn to control yourself. People that can't control themselves always talking about what somebody else made them do. They don't realize they overcame him with their foolishness. And he became their servant, so they made him do something. When the last time you heard me tell you somebody else made me do something? You know, that's why I told you, even when I'm fussing at you, you know, circumstances cause me to act and do that. It was necessary. It wasn't because I lost control of myself. I remember looking at Star Trek, like Mr. Spock. I heard one of the news people compare, somebody compared President Obama to Mr. Spock. anyway, I was looking at Star Trek, and they was about to be killed. And Spock was the head of the away mission, and he sit there and thought it over. And he ejected all of their fuel and set it on fire to make a flare, hoping that the Enterprise would see it, and they did see it. And in the end, they told Spock he had an emotional outburst, and he said no. And Dr. McCoy answered, well, so what you saying is that you reasoned that it was time for a desperate act, emotional outburst. And Spock said, well, that's not quite the way that it could be put. That's a crude way of putting it. She said, but yes, I reasoned that it was time. It was that's what should have been done. And that is they do that all the time on the football field. Last few seconds, 20 seconds left. And they may be down by 4 points. A field goal ain't gonna get it. They need a touchdown. They throw a Hail Mary. That's what they call it. Send as many receivers out as you can and hope one of them get free, and then throw the ball to the end zone. Huh? Yeah. That's the only play you can run when you down like that, and you need something like that in order to still have a chance of winning. So it's not emotional. You're desperate, and desperate measures call for desperate actions. Huh? All right. So, I mean, you don't sit up trying to gain no yardage. Talking about you want to get a first down. You don't need no first down. You need a touchdown. Is that right? And if you don't do something that will at least translate to a touchdown if it works, then you ain't had no business calling the play. Huh? All right. So look what it says here. It says, when the two receivers receive, sitting on the right and on the left, he utters not a word, but there is by him a watcher at hand. You notice now, the mouth speaking and reading. But you remember it says, to him whom Allah gives no light, he has none. If Allah was not right here with me, I'd be in the same shape you in when reading this. Trying to guess at what it's talking about. But Allah, he told his messengers to aid me and to bear witness to me. Meaning, tell the Son of Man, he said, what I say to you and those two receivers, that you get up on the housetop. Huh? So, he says, he utters not a word. What's another term for utter? And what's another term for speak? What's another term for talk? See, that's the difference in you and me. I always go and recall what the scriptures say. The scripture don't tell me to talk. It don't tell me to it does say speak, but it also tells me to recite. Were not my messages recited to you? See, when a person gives a recital, it's just like a person who is doing a piano recital. They didn't necessarily write that song. You can follow along with what they are doing. If you know how to read music, you can follow along with them. You notice you can follow along with me as I'm reciting this. Huh? And you know I didn't write it, but I am reciting it. Huh? Okay. As the jinn said, we heard a wonderful recital. Huh? They're hearing it now. And they used to set up others with their Lord, but they ain't gonna do that no more. Why? Because the Lord himself is here now, and they realize how far off they've been. Huh? So it says, he utters not a word, but there is by him a watcher at hand. What's another word for watcher? You said a seeker? How about a seer? Okay. Now, the prophets were seers. He utters not a word, but there is by him a watcher at hand. You notice when they're getting ready to have court, they have witnesses sequestered. And then as they get ready to get the testimony from the witness, they will call them to the stand. Huh? Well, they have to be at hand to be, ready to be utilized at any time. Is that right? Well, there's by him a watcher at hand, right here in front of me. I can call on any of these witnesses anytime I get ready. As Jesus said, this gospel shall be preached to all nations for a witness for the Son of Man to call whenever he get ready. Then it says, and the stupor of death comes in truth. Why does the stupor of death come in truth? because it is certainly time for us all to die if we want to live. Whosoever shall lose his life for my sake, for the sake of the truth, if he lose that wicked life that he been living, he will find true life. Die not unless you are a Muslim. No, I'm not going to. You notice, I tell you all the time when we talk, I tell you just, it ain't enough to just do one part of what I'm teaching you. You got to do it all. And anybody who try to get you to do other than what I teach ain't nothing but the devil in disguise. You see movies like that all the time. Some evil thing making itself look like one of your loved ones. Right? You better learn to recognize the devil no matter how what package he come in. I'm warning you. Everything that God said, don't do that. The devil said, oh, it's all right. Huh? Listen at me. Then how come he don't say it in front of God? And all you devils out there that say you followed me, why you say one thing when you with some weak-minded person that ain't got no understanding? You always waiting and get next to somebody that you know don't understand, and then you say all your stuff, but you don't say it to me. And you won't say it in front of me. And I'm going to tell all of you, you better stop letting people tell you that you don't understand what I'm teaching, as though they understand something that I said that was too heavy for you. You see that? That's pretty close to pure water. Now, if I give a baby, a 5-year-old, some of this, what is it my body gonna understand that his body don't understand? Look, that's what I do. I teach understanding. You don't have to try to interpret what I'm teaching. When you try to interpret it, you are altering it. It already needed interpreting, and I interpreted it for you, and all you got to do is receive it. The book then said, whosoever will, let him come and chew. It said, whosoever will, let him come and drink of the water of life freely. I learned a long time ago not to judge people by what they look like. As long as we've been living in this world, we all know that looks can be very deceiving. I remember that song that heard it through the grapevine. And One place he said, people say, believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. Huh? It wasn't talking about you got to understand that. Now that needs interpreting. In other words, don't run with gossip, man. Talking about you heard it through the grapevine and so and so. You know how many crooks and turns the grapevine make? It ain't coming straight if it's on the grapevine. So in court, in this world, they learned not to listen to the grapevine. They want to know, what did you hear this person say? And if you get up there and say, well, so-and-so told me, they said that, no, that's not what I asked you. What did you hear them say? Did you hear that? Did you see that? Well, no, but so-and-so is got your step down. Don't bring the grapevine in here. You know where we get the term gossip from. It's two words, go and sip. If you ever had whiskey, fire water, you got to sip it because it burns. You know, hot things, you have to drink it in sips. Huh? You know, people, you know, I'm going to tell you something. When people lying, it's just like right now. If everything you had been thinking that you knew about messengers of God, including the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or me, then why is it that the only thing that you come with is gossip? Where are your facts? I mean, you know, how much time do you spend, literally, how much time do you see anybody spending with me? Well, how you know so much about me and ain't all ever around me? But you know everything, right? Anyway, it says, and the stupor of death, the man that wanders out of the way of understanding shall do what? Shall experience the stupor of death. Huh? And the stupor of death comes where? In truth. In truth coming to you and you don't understand it. Is that right? Then it says, that is what thou wouldest shun. Yes, misunderstanding. If understanding is the best thing in the world, they even made a song about that, Ray Charles sang. Huh? If understanding is the best thing in the world, misunderstanding is the worst thing in the world. Is that right? Okay. Then it says, and the trumpet is blown. That is the day of threatening. What's another word for threatening? Warning. Son of man, hear the words at my mouth and give them warning from me. Huh? This is the day The trumpet is being blown. The messenger said, we're not very far off from the Gabriel sounding his trumpet. The man of God sounding his trumpet. The man that God said, I'm going to create a man of sounding clay, of black mud, fashioned into shape. So when I made him complete and breathed into him of my spirit, you fall down, humble yourself, and submit to him. Is it submitting when I tell you to do something? You say, okay, and then you go out and you do other than what I told you. How long you think you're going to get by with that? Let me tell you what grace is. I want to make sure that we're on the same page. So I'm going to read it to you. I put this definition out here yesterday, and I decided I wouldn't close it out until I read it to you. Now, you see what, remember now, the book says that, and the word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory. Now, how many of you all can dwell up in the scriptures like I do? You know, if you know what dwell is, if you are an auto mechanic, I didn't say a technician, but a mechanic, he can tell you what the dwell is. You'll notice they used to have a timing light. And when he rev up that motor, that light would keep hitting that mark, just dwelling in a specific range there. Do you understand? You notice when you get to, you can't go up into high mountains and just hang out. They are too thin. Huh? You got to know how to go up in that mountain. Well, there's a lesson in that. You can't go into the scriptures and hang out like me. When you try that, I told you how to do it. I told you, just familiarize yourself with the scripture. Don't try to interpret nothing. Just read it and then wait. And when I'm teaching on it, you will, it's just like reading ahead when you went to school. The teacher told you, read chapter so-and-so, and we'll discuss it in class. He or she didn't tell you to go read it and then figure it out on your own. Got a lot of these running around here. They want to be me so bad. When I first found out who I am, I didn't even want to be me. And here you is. Because it frightened me. To even think that I could be that. That's what the parable was. That a man said, I ain't good enough for you to be calling me your son. And he said, come on in, son. As the messenger said, he felt too cheap. He said, I be a disgrace to you, all the stuff I done did wrong. But his father took him in anyway. I didn't make myself the son of man. Allah created me. Do you honestly think I could have made this up myself? Who been protecting me from all the hateful stuff that y'all been doing to me? And kept me working for you anyway? And some of y'all done said some hateful things to me. If not to me, about me. Now, I don't know what you thinking. It's the one you start talking to, they get loose-lipped and then they come tell me what you said. So you ain't keeping no secrets. We some sick people. We've been made sick. So Allah made me understand that by letting me experience the sickness. That's why when I heard some of the things that people said about the president who just passed, I mean, I saw how much kinship that I have with him. As he you know, people start talking about how he didn't want no more nations taking misadvantage of other nations and whatnot. That's what he, and I heard him say about a kinder, gentler America. I didn't hear him say about a kinder, gentler world, though, where all human beings are equal. And the only way you actually see equality is when you look at a family. You notice the oldest brother in the family, he don't intimidate the young one. The youngest one, he goes, "Who you think you talking to?" Is that right? That's how they talk to each other, right? He ain't scared of him, right? You know, because what? We are all brothers. And so, you know, as you looked at yeah, I was glad that they didn't tell this foolish man that's president now that he couldn't come to their, you know, just because somebody ain't got no sense, that don't mean everybody got to act that way. And I understood perfectly well why John McCain, even in his death, was trying to teach that foolish man a lesson, hoping that maybe he would realize that, man, look, it's certain things you just can't do, certain things you just can't say. And since won't nobody else tell you that you are acting a complete fool, I will leave one last admonishment. Don't you show up at my funeral. Now you're going to act like that didn't bother him. And if it didn't bother you, you're sicker even than I thought you was. But that's what happens when you try to judge others by what you are instead of by what they are. For the devil is called the angel of the bottomless pit. Has no bottom. So ain't nothing too low for him. And the only way that something is never too low for you is because you completely have exercised. You've seen The Exorcist? You have exercised whatever consciousness of good that you had, it's done left you. I'm glad it bothers me if I hurt somebody's feelings without good cause. It bothers me. Even after I get through fussing with somebody, I'm thankful that I have enough self-awareness and consciousness, and I believe decency, to go over my part in that to see if I had something to do with that, if I could have handled it better. It don't make no difference because somebody think that what you think, because I try to make sure that I don't unwittingly or because I didn't think a thing through cause harm to come to you? I'm never wrong for admonishing you. I may be wrong in the way that I went about it. And when I say wrong, if it ain't the best way, it's the wrong way. As far as I'm concerned. You hear people say, it's more than one way to skin a cat. Yeah, well, what you doing? You done killed him. So it don't make no difference how you skin him. But when dealing with living things, the only way to skin any creature is to kill him first. Thou shalt not kill. So I try my best I'm always going to try my best. That even in correcting you, try to make sure that I don't do anything that may provoke you to wind up being destroyed. That's the lesson I got from my little niece when she asked me what was I trying to do, arguing with my mother, get her in trouble. That's what she asked me. 3 years old. You know good and well she ain't had no business asking me nothing like that. I knew who was asking me. I knew who was talking. Allah said, whoever fall on me is going to, they were going to be crushed. So I'm very careful. I try my best. Sometimes you provokes me though. People provoke you, and I'm trying my best to get into a frame of mind that I'm very hard to provoke. I need to be that way in order to, because I have too much authority to be running around here flying off the handle just because I'm dealing with some foolish individual. I'm not here to destroy fools. I'm here to try to help them. A fool is a child. Foolishness is bound up in the bosom of a child. I want to see you grow up. So it says, and the trumpet is blown. That is the day of threatening. And every soul comes. With it, a driver and a witness. That's the mind that's in you. The mind that's in every soul drives that body and is a witness to what you're doing. Just like the driver in a car. He's driving it and he's a witness to what happened in it too. Is that right? Okay. So me and my sister had a good little laugh about that. I told her I was going to show that in the Holy Quran. Now, ain't it nice that we have automobiles so we understand a driver? See how everything had to be revealed at the proper time so that the language could be shared with you in such way that you would understand. And Allah had to prepare somebody that would have a good memory of what he experienced. And then relate those memories to these things. Learning is all about memory. You notice, what do you call it on your computer? Memory. You can't learn anything that you don't remember. So these books, all of these books now are books of remembrance. As long as you eat of this bread and drink of this cup, you do in remembrance of me. Ain't that what Jesus told his disciples? And surely in the remembrance of Allah, in all of them is Allah. In the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest. Yeah. What do you mean? You find the ability to rest when you remember. As Moses said, remember the Sabbath day. To do what? To keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. That's why I was talking with another believer today. You know, the believers call me from time to time, ask me little questions and whatnot. And if it's just something that they want to know about Ramadan, how do we practice it? And we basically practice it like they do over in the East. We don't eat or drink nothing in the daytime. And we don't eat anything from the land. No dead flesh. You know, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he taught us this. He said, I'm hoping to get you from eating any kind of flesh. He said meat, but that's what he meant. He meant flesh. Because who wants to eat decaying flesh? No, that's not good for you. I mean, take a hint. The earth is 3/4, the surface of it is 3/4 water. But what does that tell you about where the majority of our food should come from? You started your life off in water. You don't have to drain the blood out of a fish. When you catch him, his meat already ready for you. You just do a little cooking of it. He good. You don't just catch him. He'll die on his own. Is that right? So it's a lot of things. But as I was telling our brother, you know, we don't you know, even the Ramadan that we call in Ramadan, it's not a fast. It's not really a fast. We eat every day. It's not a fast in the general sense of the word. In the real meaning of a fast, you still eating every day. You just not eating during the daytime. You know, that is a lesson. You notice the messengers of God, they fasted when it came to this world. They had once been in this world and left it. And so they didn't eat and drink with the drunken anymore. You understand? I'll show you what I'm talking about here. I want you to really understand these things because in 1 Peter, you know, I like to make sure that we give you something. And by the way, I want you to remember while I'm at it that WHPR TV 33 can now be seen on Fire Stick. And I told the brother to get me one. He got me one. And just a little box here. Fire Stick. Fire TV Stick. I don't know what the 4K is. 4,000? Okay. You got a what? Okay, we got a yeah, that goes and gets me stuff. You know, that's my technician back there. He always picking something up for me. And he brings me stuff all the time. I'm so thankful for him. I fuss at him all the time, but he know it's done in love. So it says Fire Stick. Download WHPR TV now. Call, text, email, use all your social media outlets to tell your family and your friends about this announcement that whether in Chicago, New York, Washington, Georgia, Africa, Paris. In other words, you get it all over the world. And that WHPR can be seen all over the world now. You know, this is something else that we got in America. The United States. The United States has created the catalyst for a united world. And I'm going to do all I can I agree with what former president and what the late president, George H.W. Bush, he wanted a kinder, gentler world. In other words, let's stop all of this concrete jungles and let's be human beings. I mean, he even named one of his children Marvin. So I got a soft spot in my heart for anyway, you know, Marvin means friend. It means friend of the sea. And you know, that's I think that's a good name. So I kept mine. You know, a lot of people going around changing their names. I kept the name my mama and them gave me. I just got rid of that slave name. But, and even that now, I don't have no, that ain't no big thing. If your name is John Smith, or if your name is Abdul, or if your name is Hafik, or Sun Yun Moon, or whatever. That's, if you are a good man, then you just made that a good name. If you're a good woman, whatever your name is, it will be associated with what you are. Do you understand? So, now for more information on the Fire Stick, call this number, 313-868-6612. Just like I think about the name Robert J. Watkins. And, you know, everybody call him RJ, you know. But here that man and went through some of everything, him and his family, to keep that station open and affordable for the average Black person in Detroit. I don't know nowhere you can go get, last time I checked, it was $1 a minute, $30 or $29 for 30 minutes of airtime on the radio. Now, where can you go get that? So I mean, you know, you know, I I appreciate that brother, and I appreciate all that he has done to help us. That man could have refused to sell me airtime when I was on there talking that saying things that he didn't agree with everything I was teaching, and he still don't. But he agreed that I have the right to buy airtime just like anybody else. And as he told me emphatically, he said, as long as you don't break no FCC rules, we good. Because I can play my disclaimer and you go ahead. But and that was the first time I had ever really met an owner of a station that I truly could respect. Because instead of just claiming that he believed in the right, the freedom of speech, and that the airwaves should be available to whoever can purchase the time. As long as they're not trying to get on the American Airways and trying to overthrow the government. Don't even sell them a second a time if that's what they're trying to do. You ain't got no right to be in the house of another person that's done made you welcome, and then you trying to burn their house down. But so he has my lasting respect and love, because I met a lot of people that's sitting in here with me now, in this meeting. We'd have probably never met if it hadn't been for that station. And so it's a whole lot of people got to take credit for me being able to talk to you. I mean, this was done in the United States. This is America. These airways here was made available in the United States. Now, I don't know who invented Fire Stick, but it's in America. And I don't want to see this country erased. I got sense enough to know that when you don't like somebody, you ain't just getting rid of the part you don't like. The good stuff, that's going with them too. That's why you always have some people that say, man, I wish I hadn't. Well, you should have thought about it before you got rid of it. Dummy. What Red Fox used to call it. You big dummy. Is that what he called him? Big dummy. Yeah. So let's not be dumb. Would you heat my coffee up again? Wake up, Taylor. Turn that. Is it hot in there, y'all? Huh? If it's hot, go there and just turn it off. Don't change the setting. Just turn it off. And when it get cool again, we'll turn it back on. But anyway, as I was, I needed to get that in to make sure that you understand that all of the staff and management of the station was asking all of the air personalities to remind the viewers and the listeners that they can go on Fire Stick. And I try to remember to do that. As I was talking to a brother today, we had a little brief talk, and I was telling him that the reason we have a new Islam, most people don't understand, but that's because most people don't look deep into words. They think that well, they just gloss over things. When I talk about Islam, I'm talking about entire submission to the will of God. Most people, they just talking about Islam. It don't go no further than that. Well, in the 15th chapter, I'm so thankful that Allah blessed me to be able to get to these things, and there ain't no lot of time elapsed. And he's given me time to get this over to you. In the 15th chapter of the Holy Quran, this conversation that now in this section 1, starting at the 26th verse, look at what it says. It says, the devil's opposition to the righteous. The devil's opposition to the righteous. Remember in 2 Thessalonians, it says that man of sin would be revealed who oppose it. Someone who is in opposition to you is someone who opposes you. Do you understand? Okay. Now it says in the 26th verse, it says, and surely we created man. If you wondering where I came from, Allah is now telling you, he and his messengers created the mind that's now standing up here talking to you. Man is not flesh. Man is the mind that's in the flesh. Do you understand? Man means to take charge. Let us make man in our image after our likeness. What is books? It is images of words, images that represent words. And it is in books that the minds that's in men. Thank you. See, that woke you up, man. Yeah. The knowledge that's in books is what creates the minds. Let us make man in our image. The root word of imagination is image. Let us make man in the form of our imagination, of what we imagine he should be. Do you understand? And let them have dominion over the fowl of the air, over the fish of the sea, over the earth, over the cattle, and over the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the face of the earth. Let them have rulership over it. Okay. That was done. That's how we got all of this knowledge. As the devil told Jesus, he didn't, the devil didn't keep no secret that all of the dominion over all these kingdoms, he said, all this was delivered to me. Showed Jesus every kingdom of the world, didn't he? Like he's showing you now, right? You go to universities and he show you all the kingdoms that he have knowledge over. He said, all this, I'll give it to you. If you humble yourself and worship me. Every time you speak, you are shipping words out of your mouth. You are word shipping. Do you understand? See, that's the first time. If you hadn't heard me teach on worshiping, you wouldn't have knew what it was talking about. And you got nerve enough to sit up out there talking crazy to me. Anyway, so it says, surely we created man of sounding clay, of black mud, fashioned into shape. Now, that's what slavery was for. It was to fashion me from a people who had been fashioned into the shape of not even wanting to be free. They wanted to just work for other people. That's you. You notice, you're not even interested in competing with the other nations of the earth. All you want is you have a good job. And that's the people I came from. You're like it compares you to mud. Dirt mixed with water. You know, dust mixed with water. You are the dust of the rulers, the former rulers of the continent that you call Africa, the former rulers of the earth. You and I are what's left of them. And a lot of people say, well, look how, see, now you ain't got nothing. We had everything and didn't have nothing. That's why we made ourselves forget it and made people take it over. And you got to be pretty smart to figure out a way to empty all of your knowledge out. Everybody not able to do that. We made all of these people and gave them dominion to purposely empty ourselves out because we had a new idea. And that new idea was one God, no longer 12, one. We knew that inside of us was a superior mind waiting to be born. Like inside of the immune system is the key to any disease that we have. The immune system, given enough time, life will conquer death. Life was never will never surrender to go out of existence. Never. Everything in the universe is a witness to that. Everything is alive. What you call death is not things actually going out of existence. It is things changing form. Do you understand? We done changed form so many times that we got bored and got disgusted. There ain't nothing new under the sun. What do you mean? Ain't nothing new to change to. Whatever been we done been that already. Ain't no fun to me. So it was time for a greater wisdom. And so the will to bring in a greater one, we produced a man after the word was put out there. Then we produced a man, his name was Jacob, that after we had worked on ourselves for about 40-something thousand years, Mr. Shabazz took his family into what you call Africa now. It was at that time it was called Southeast Asia. And he began his experimenting to with the human body and the human body. You notice you find people over there, you know, some genetic engineering has been done when you got people that ain't nobody under 7 feet, and then somebody else over there ain't over 4 feet, and that, you know, somebody been doing some experimenting, you see. And so, but anyway, after studying our genes and whatnot, still working on that, producing that one, Jacob was born. And as Jacob, he was born, he knew that in order to produce the mind that we wanted, we needed to be put in a position where we would have to think our way out of situations rather than physically fight our way out of it. Do you understand? And so he made a people, as Mr. Shabazz said, he could make a people that nothing could defeat. And so that's where we made the devil. I mean, the white man, he got all kind of ways to kill you if that's what you want to do. If you want to fight like that, he'll deal with you. Do you understand? But with us, it wasn't about that. We could have been, you know, I mean, that's, you know, we had explosives more powerful than anything he got right now. And what good was that if you ain't got a mind that is explosive enough to bring about perfection? But we put the moon out there with our explosive. We raised mountains with our explosives. And made the earth more habitable by the mountains we raised up. So he made the devil and made him for the sole purpose to oppose our freedom. You notice even right now, they still like to go back to slavery if they could. Still want to treat you and me like property, right? You hear this man come out here and tell a black man. Now, he wouldn't have did that if it was a white person that took a knee, but he saw black people protesting and he called them SOBs, right? Okay. Now this is this was the will of the current God, of the ruler. That we made the jinn. Look at that 27th verse. It says, and the jinn we created before. Before mean first. The mind that's in white people that is prevalent in white people. It's in all other people now, but it is more prevalent, more complete in white people. The jinn, the Bible says Gentile, but the jinn we created before of intensely hot fire, of the nature of fire. And you know you can never satisfy fire. You can never feed it and it get full. It never get full. Is that right? It never say that's enough. Okay. Now it says, and when thy Lord said to the angels, I'm going to raise up and teach a mortal, a man. Why? Because the prophets had already said There is none righteous. No, not one. Well, you remember when God was talking to Abraham, and Abraham said, "Are you going to destroy it? What if there's 50 righteous there?" And he got all the way down to 10. He said, "Well, what if you find 10 there? You gonna?" He said, "I'll spare it for 10's sake." Well, what if they done showed you movies about this? That the world was about to be destroyed if it wasn't for that one baby that was born, huh? Well, he said, so since there wasn't none righteous, and Allah being most merciful, you notice the Holy Quran, every chapter of it starts with these words, except chapter 9. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful. So he said, if don't no righteous one exist, that's why even Jesus and all of them, they was worried about themselves. They say, ain't no saying you calling me righteous or good. There ain't none good but one, and that's God. And so and when it says, when thy Lord said to the angels, I'm going to create a mortal of sounding clay of black mud fashioned into shape. So when I have made him complete and breathed into him of my spirit, humble yourself, making obeisance to him. That's what fall down means. So the angels made obeisance, all of them together, but the devil didn't. Iblis did it not. He refused to be with those who made obeisance. He refused to submit. So he said, not Iblis. His Lord says to him, "Oh, Iblis, what is the reason that thou art not with those who make obeisance?" He said, "I'm not going to make obeisance to a mortal whom thou hast created of sounding clay of black mud fashioned into shape." We used to have a saying, the same thing that Iblis said, because he put his mind in us. He afflicted us like that. One of our favorite sayings was, "A nigga can't tell me nothing. And if you want it done right, you better call the white man." Black people used to talk like that because all we were grafted white people. You know, when you graft skin, you take it from one spot and put it in another. You can take it from one person and graft it onto another person where it grows permanently. The white man took his mind, not the best of what was in his mind. He kept you and me out of his high echelon circle, but he took his education that he designed for his white children, and then he put black children into his school system. Same books, same thing that he was teaching white children, and he put that mind in black people. And that's why we have such innate hatred of ourselves and don't even know why. It is because the mind that's in us is the mind of the man who enslaved us. And so when we was calling ourselves colored, the lessons that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us, he said, who is the colored man? He said, the colored man is the Caucasian white man. He's just a Yaqub's grafted devil, the skunk of the planet Earth. And that's why your attitude's so nasty, stinky. Try to get you up and help you become something, and you figure out a reason to be mad at the very person who's helping you. If you don't overcome that, you're going to be destroyed. I'm here to help you overcome it. But if you don't let me help you overcome it, you're going to be destroyed. Along with everybody else that hate the Lord. So it said, after he said he wasn't going to submit, the 34th verse says, Allah told him, it said, at least his Lord told him, he said, then you go forth, for surely thou art driven away. And surely on thee is a curse till the day of judgment. Well, it's a curse when you can't submit to what's right. It's a curse when your mind just don't function in such way that you have sense enough to recognize that righteousness is not judged by what color you are or whatnot. So that's what the white man he's the epitome of racism, of color struck. That if it's white, it's all right. It can be all wrong, but if President Obama had did 1/1,000,000th of the things and talked 1/1,000,000th of a way like Donald Trump, he'd have been out of there so fast you'd have thought that light was traveling slow. But he white. See, you manifesting your racism to the world. And so I'm just telling you now, at least Allah making you manifest it. You know what Allah said in the book, that whenever we destroyed a town, and we never destroyed a town, that's what you amount to. The whole earth amounts to a town compared to the universe. Never did we destroy a town, but their only cry was, surely we were wrongdoers. They didn't say God was wrong in them. They were made to admit that they were wrongdoers, just like you admitting it now. But don't say I didn't offer you a chance, because I did offer you a chance. I offered everybody a chance. Now let's go a little further. He said, then go forth, get out of here, for surely thou art driven away, and surely on thee is a curse till the day of judgment. So Iblis said, my Lord, respite me till the time when they are raised. He said, his Lord told him, surely thou art of the respited ones, till the period of time made known, till the day of resurrection. Then Iblis said, my Lord, as thou hast judged me erring, since you made me the devil, he said, I shall certainly make evil fair seeming to them on earth, and I shall cause them all to deviate. Now, what did Adam have dominion over? Over the earth and everything that creepeth up on the earth. Huh? Well, he said, I will make evil fair seeming to them on earth, and I shall cause them all to deviate, except thy servants from among them, the prophets, the purified ones, the messengers of God. And so Allah told him, he said, this is a right way with me. What's another way of saying this is a right way with me? Another way of saying that is that this is my will. Do it. Huh? Okay. If it was God's will, then that was Islam. Well, we have a new Islam now. You were told that you had 6,000 years to do things your way. That was Allah's will. And he gave it over to you to do it your way. Well, now, let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and return yourself to the Lord, and he will abundantly pardon. The Son of Man hath power on earth to forgive sins. I have power to pardon your sins. I also have power and authority to cast you in hell. There's plenty that came in here and doubted that till I threw them in hell. Now, let's go back to chapter 50 so I can finish reading that for you. In the 20th verse, it says, and the trumpet is blown, and that is the day of warning, the day of threatening. And every soul comes, everyone will come forth, as the book says in the book of John, the 5th chapter. It says, the 28th verse, it says, marvel not at this, for the hour is coming, and in which all that are in the graves shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, and every soul comes forth with it, a driver and a witness. Huh? I'm calling everybody forth now. Ain't nobody can claim ignorance now, because I'm making it plain. And it says, thou wast indeed heedless of this. Heedless meaning you were unaware of it, and you, when you read the Bible and the Holy Quran, you was so foolish and so in the dark that you actually thought that these books were separate from one another. You was even in church teaching that the Old Testament, you call it, the books of Moses and all that, that's gone now. We living in Jesus' time. And what kind of thing. You didn't know what I'm sharing with you. You didn't know these books were one. It's just like the average one of us. We never, when we was in school, we thought that elementary, junior high, and high school was separate school. The only thing different about them was what you was calling them. But it's just one school system, one education. And college level, just one education. It is the educational system of America, the United States in particular. Now, it says, thou wast indeed heedless of this, but now the time has come, but now we have removed from thee thy veil. Why say we have removed thy veil? Because the bridegroom is here. And you know what happens when the bridegroom get in front of the bride and she got a veil on. The first face she see when the veil is lifted is who? It's supposed to be the bridegroom. And who was you looking at when the scripture became crystal clear to you? You was looking and listening, looking at and listening to me. We have removed from thee thy veil, so thy sight is sharp this day. If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin. They wouldn't have had the knowledge of that they were doing wrong. But now they have no cloak. And his companion will say, this is what is ready with me. That's right. As the scripture says, behold, I come quickly. And where's my reward? It is with me. This is what's ready with me. Huh? Then it says, cast into hell every ungrateful, rebellious one, forbidder of good, exceeder of limits, doubters. I don't know if he's the son of man or not. I don't believe him. I don't believe that nigga no son of man. That's what they say. Well, forbidder of good, exceeder of limits, a doubter who sets up another God with Allah. So cast him into severe chastisement. Now you know what the hell is, huh? Whosoever fall on that stone, what's going to happen to him? He's going to be ground to powder. He's going to be chastised. I don't have to wonder if Allah chastises you when I cast you into hell. I know he does. If he don't, come in here and tell me don't nothing happen to you when I cast you into hell. Come on in here. All you that's done been cast into hell by me. Come on in here and tell the people, ain't nothing happened to me. I warned you. And look what it says here. His companion will say, our Lord. You know how them people used to come in here throwing up Geno Jennings or Minister Farrakhan or somebody up in my face. And yet the one they was throwing up in my face wouldn't come in here and have a conversation with me. And they were still stupid enough to keep trying to throw them up in my face. So his companion will say, Lord, our Lord, I did not cause him to rebel, but he himself went far in error. No, he will say, dispute not in my presence. And indeed, I gave you warning beforehand. Didn't I give all of them warning? My sentence cannot be changed, nor am I in the least unjust to the servants of sin, or to the servants, period, to the flesh. You notice the people that's in them mental institutions, it's the mind of them that's suffering. The body being fed, it's being taken care of, letting it live out its fleshly existence, and it's going to hurry up and get back to a greater life. The flesh of you, that don't die. That's going back to where it came from. But the mind, that's the one being chastised. That's why Jesus told you, don't fear them that can kill the body, and after that ain't got nothing else they can do. I tell you who to fear. Fear him that after he have killed, have power to cast into hell. Yeah, I say fear him.
So you have a few people that have questions.
Yes, what is the question?
One brother, his screen name is Operation Exodus, and he wants to know, how does one arrange an official visit to come see us?
You don't just come on, brother. Give him the address and everything, and just give him my phone number and everything, and tell him to give me a call so I can make sure I'll be here, because I want to meet it. Whoever want to come meet me, I want to meet them. Okay? But you don't need no special invitation. We ain't no compound. You come here just like you don't need no special invitation to go visit Virginia or Texas or whatever. You just get in your car and go. I mean, we're not behind no walls or nothing. So you can come to Fayette, Mississippi, and you get a chance to see our little businesses and stuff. You come to Red Lake, you see where we live and that kind of thing. You don't need no special. Ain't nobody, anytime somebody gonna tell you you got to get some special thing to come see them, something wrong. Anyway, but yes, you're welcome to come visit us, brother. What else? Who else was?
Suleiman Spraggins asks, can we drink water during the daytime?
No, can't drink. Or remember, I said don't eat or drink anything during the daylight hours. Now, what you do when you have prayer in the morning before daybreak, then you drink you some water. Then, you know, drink you a couple of bottles of water, or drink you a bottle of water, and that'll carry you through the day. Then, by the time you get good and thirsty, it'll be the sundown and be there anyway. Don't worry, it ain't gonna hurt you. Anyone else? So, just remember that we are not here to. I'll give you another definition of fire and brimstone. You notice wickedness. The book says, "Burneth as a fire," and you notice a fez is not a hat. You know, it's a type of hat, but we don't really call it a. You notice a fez ain't got no brim on it, right? You know, and most of the hats that you've seen designed by these people, they all have brims on them, which means the knowledge that's a symbolic thing. The knowledge that's up there stays in that circle up there. It don't never filter down to you, to the masses, right? Okay, and so a stone is a hard thing, huh? As in a hard head, and the brim is the top of anything. So, fire and brimstone, they have their part in the lake that burneth with fire and brimstone, with wickedness and hard-headed people. Do you understand? Can't tell them nothing. So they love the doing of evil and hate the doing of goodness. Then they find you who are ignorant and convince you that their wickedness ain't wickedness. Do you understand? Then I warn y'all, don't let nobody come between me and you. Okay, whose fault is it if you did that? All right. So, you know, ain't nobody gonna make me feel guilty. Couldn't nobody make me feel guilty because I wouldn't listen to them over the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You look, I ain't following you. And don't make no mistake, I ain't in love with nobody to the point where I'm gonna listen to you more than I'm gonna listen to God. No, that don't happen. Buddy, Missy. And you gonna wish that you had took that stance too. For it's over with. So, I told you to go to 1 Peter. And I never did read it, did I? Yeah. Excuse me, please. Let me find it, then I will get to it with you. Now, this is 1 Peter, the 4th chapter. Now, it says, "For as much then as Christ." I remember the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the Muslim is actually the best Christian, because one of the meanings of Christian is to be crystallized into one. Do you understand? So you notice Christ, it's just like you say Christ Mass, the coming together of all of the messengers of God into oneness. No one could bring about the Christ or Christmas but the Lord himself. You notice I'm the one who brought all of the prophets into oneness. Huh? And make them all to show you all of the harmony in their doctrines. Because it really wasn't their doctrine. They told you the words, as Jesus said, the words that I speak are not mine, but his that sent me. You see? As John said, he that cometh after me is preferred before me because he was before me. The word was the truth. The word existed before the man who it took up residence in and made itself known through. Do you understand? And so that word that the messengers of God brought, as it says, sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. You see, the word is God. To God. You see, the word is with God, and the word is the God of the one that it is with. Do you understand? Okay. So, you don't find atheists coming in here anymore trying to put up some argument to mean that there is no God, because he makes himself a fool to do that. Because I know what I'm saying when I say God. You one don't know what you're saying. And the God you'll be talking about don't even exist. That's just your imagination. So, now look at what this says. For as much then as Christ hath suffered for us in the flesh, every messenger of God, as the messenger said, Allah don't choose no messenger unless he's got to be willing to give up his life. In other words, he got to be willing to suffer. Because in a wicked world, if you're trying to practice righteousness, they got a saying in this world: no good deed will go unpunished. Did you hear that? And you heard that before you heard me say it too. And you never gave it a second thought. You didn't even realize that the devil was confessing to you. Who would want to punish a good deed? Nobody but the devil. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. You are of your father, the devil. So you expect to get a blessing for doing what? You remember in Michael, the Godfather, he was becoming the godfather of his little nephew or niece of his sister's baby. He was standing up there, and the priest asked him, Michael, do you renounce Satan? He said, yes, I renounce Satan. And at the same time, what was he doing? He had ordered hits on everybody, had. Huh? Well, what is the chief thing that the devil is known for doing? Lying. You see, he better not say, no, I don't renounce Satan. You can't tell the truth. You got to lie. Why? Because the devil is a liar. See, you don't understand. They know I understand. That's why they don't say nothing to me. They also know that their time is up. They know that I'm the Lord. I couldn't know the things I know if I was not. No man ascendeth up to heaven, but he who came down from heaven. Not only did you not know what heaven that was talking about, you couldn't, it's no way that you could have known that that's talking about the Holy Scriptures. Unless you was the Lord himself. Because the mind that's in me couldn't ascend up into this book unless it first had came down from that book. How do you understand? How does a doctor understand a medical book? The mind that's in him came from the medical book. That's why he's able to go back up into it and understand all of its terminology and nomenclatures, that the things that that's in that book. If the mind that was in me didn't come out of the Holy Scriptures, I wouldn't understand the Holy Scriptures. And I couldn't have the understanding of it unless Allah gave it to me, because he said, to him whom Allah gives no light of understanding, he does not have any. Son of man, take the book. He said, take that which I give thee and eat it. And I looked, and lo, a hand was sent unto me. And lo, a roll of a book was therein. And he spread it before me. He opened it up and began giving me understanding of it. He said, recite it. And as I recited, he opened up my ears to understand it. That's right. Do anybody doubt that? Now look at what this says. For as much then as Christ hath suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind, for he that hath suffered in the flesh hath ceased from sin himself. First must he suffer many things and be rejected of this generation? Well, if I hadn't suffered and been tempted and tested with things that you were tempted and tested with, how could I have patience with you in something that I could not understand how you could do? Then why you try to judge me? Why did you try to judge me? You should have kept your mouth off of me. You should have did like Noah's two sons that closed their eyes and went on about their business and didn't try to judge their father. Because their father was not their servant. He was God's servant. If it hadn't been for him, they'd all been drowned. If it was not for what Allah have given me, all of those who was in the nation of Islam, they wouldn't have no hope now. And you can holler all you want, but no, you wouldn't have had no hope right now. Because all of them, one by one, been falling like dominoes. And if you be honest, I gave all of you hope. I gave those who was in the Nation of Islam, I gave them hope. And I give those who never joined, I give you hope too. Even the white man, he have hope now that I'm here. Where before he didn't have any. So it says, like it says, that he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lusts of men, but to the will of God. Entire submission to who? The will of God. And it says, for the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentile. We was enslaved and doing the will of those who were given dominion. We went to their schools, we received their guidance, we made ourselves obedient to the mammon of unrighteousness that we got from the man of sin. And it failed to bring us peace. It failed to bring us unity. It failed to bring us security. It failed to bring us into a state of righteousness. Both houses that he erected failed us. The natural house and the spiritual house. His religions are no good. And the knowledge that he give us of the natural creation needs perfecting. It's impossible to perfect that which you're looking at with an imperfect mind. The first thing you need to achieve perfection is thought, perfect thought. Once you have perfect thought, you can have perfect practice. For the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles when we walked in lasciviousness. Let's look up lasciviousness. I like to make sure you understand what we are talking about. Lasciviousness. Lasciviousness. It says given to or expressing lust. Lecherous. You know that stuff y'all be looking at on the pornography channels. Huh? You and your orgies. Exciting sexual desires. Salaciousness. And it goes on down, it says lasciviousness, feeling morbid, sexual desires, or a propensity to lewdness. Huh? Okay. You know, I don't have to keep on going with that. I just wanted you to see the scriptures saw all of these things we was doing. Who you think you fooling? Now, your devils done made it fair seeming to you now. Oh, this is good. This is okay. Ain't nothing wrong with it. If ain't nothing wrong with it, then why, when you finish, you're not at peace? I didn't hear you. When you get through eating a decent meal, you don't feel guilty. Do you? Don't you know anything that your conscience bothers you about? Something is wrong with that. But what happened? You know, the conscience, it just whispers. It don't shout. It just say, yeah, you ain't got no business doing it. Why would you do that? And then your devil start talking. Sometimes the devil inside of you, and sometimes the devil your companion that's got their devils talking and using their mouth to convince you. So it says, for the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles. When we supposed to be doing the will of God, but the will of the Gentiles, he was given dominion, wasn't he? So we wrought his will. Huh? When we walked in lasciviousness, lusts, excess wine, revelings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries. Huh? All kind of lewd stuff. You know, a banqueting, that's parties. You know, we love to party. Hey, man, where the party? I see the light. I see the party lights. They're red and blue and green. Yeah. We sung songs about the party. The banqueting. Here we living in squalor and filth and got nerve enough to be talking about throwing a party. And then come out bragging about how high we got. Man, I got towed down last night. Bragging about it. Towed down meaning got drunk. Got so high, what happened? I don't remember, man. I was dead to the world. Then when you sober up, can't wait to go do it again. And if you wanted to keep on doing that, what you join with me for? Why come to me if that's what you wanted to keep doing? Fast as I'm trying to get some of them cleaned up, you in there trying to dirty them back up. Don't you worry. Those who know who I'm talking about and what I'm talking about, I ain't gonna get into nothing with you over no phone. I'm gonna talk to you face to face. It says, wherein they think it strange that you run not with them to the same excess anymore of riot, speaking evil of you. When you stop doing it, then they want to start talking you down. Huh? Call you all kind of names. You know you used to do this with me. Now all of a sudden now you too good for it, huh? Oh, so I'm supposed to feel guilty because I'm trying to clean myself up because you don't want to be clean. It's right here in black and white. Who shall give account to him that is ready to judge the quick and the dead? Then I just tell you, I'm going to see you face to face. I like to look at people when I'm talking to them to see if talking to them will do any good. I'm not here to give that which is holy to a dog. For this cause was the gospel preached also to them that are dead, that they might be judged according to men in the flesh, but live according to God in the spirit. That you may live a just and upright life in flesh, because you will have a just and upright mind, which is your spirit, spiritually. You know, you don't find me going all up and down the street preaching at people and fussing at people because of the wrongdoing that they're doing. But when you come into my class, I assume you came in here because you want to hear my guidance. Don't you know you would have been better off to not have heard a word I said than to hear me and ignore me? Whosoever eateth of, drinketh of this cup and eateth of this bread, and is not able to submit and follow, is guilty of the body and the blood of the Lord and his Christ. That's written. I may have paraphrased it, but if you get clowning, I'll take you in there and show you where it's at. I don't lie on God. You know, people always lying to my God said so and so. God said you're supposed to love everybody. God said just the opposite. He that loved the world is at enmity with God. I tell you what, I know one thing. I done met some decent police officers. You know why they look decent to me? Because I wasn't breaking the law. Police officer, he can be just as kind or whatnot, but you get out there breaking the law. See how he feel about you then. Huh? The FBI. The FBI, they can be, they just as respectful. They just as civilized as they can be. Until they find out that you don't mean their country no good. It's strictly business now. They show you what they got on you, they go after you, and they take you and into their custody, and they deal with you for what you've been trying to do to their country. And they do it respectfully. But you needn't think that he loves you and you trying to tear his country down. No. What you doing, he hates. Do you understand? You see what just happened with General Flynn? General Flynn, he, you know, like any, look, soldiers, military people are trained to not so much as question orders, but to assume that the orders are legal, that the orders that they are being given are above board. As one thing they taught us in the Marine Corps, yours is not to question why. Yours is but to do or die. And then at the same time, they teach you that there are such things as war crimes, and you should never do anything that your conscience dictates to you is wrong. If you are a conscientious objector, if you have an attack of conscience about something that you are being ordered to do, then you have a right to not do it. Because conscience comes in the realm of morality. And you can't train morality out of people. You're not supposed to let anyone train you to be immoral. That's to do away with your humanity. You don't stop being human. So, here this man served with distinction. He served this country. He was a 3-star general, a lieutenant general. When he was discovered, you know, a general is not a politician. He was in an arena that he was reduced to a child. I don't care what kind of general he was. He wasn't a politician. And you assume that if a man gets in a position where he is president of the United States, that he's no dumbbell. That he's already taken an oath to uphold the Constitution. And that you assume he's not a traitor. And you also assume that when he was briefed, he has knowledge of what is going on with Russia, what is going on with our relationship with Russia. So the general had a mitigating circumstance. He had something that needed to be taken into account. When he found out that what the Trump administration was doing with Russia was wrong, he started cooperating with the FBI's investigation and telling them whatever they wanted to know, he cooperated. I mean, his history wasn't a history of treason. His history was not a history of not caring about this country. But you'd be surprised what scheming, conniving people can get a patriot to do from a position that the patriot trusts. It wasn't his, it actually, even though it was, in his mind, it wasn't his responsibility to know what was legal and what was not legal, what was proper and what was not proper, because he's used to having presidents give him orders. And those orders were not to be questioned, but to be carried out. You understand? So he was taken misadvantage of. His ignorance made him susceptible to it, just like a child. The minute you go into an arena that you are not fully, that you don't have a comprehensive knowledge of, if someone invites you to a task that you are not up to, that you don't have a knowledge of what it's about, the most intelligent thing you can do is to first, the most intelligent is to decline to take the job. But if you take the job, you say, well, yes, I'll take the job, but right now you need to bring me up to speed. I need to be brought up to speed on, and the best way to be brought up to speed is to talk to the last person that had that job and ask them, now what will be expected of me? What do I need to know, and what do I need to watch out for, and in order to make sure that I can serve my country in a honorable capacity? Do you understand? It's not, I mean, you can take jobs that you don't have comprehensive knowledge of. People do it all of the time. But intelligent people, they don't so much as know everything, but they have intelligence enough to go and research and find out what they don't know and get caught up. Because that's why you have from November to January, from almost 90 days to interact with the outgoing administration so they can bring you up to speed and make a smooth transition. By the time they get through telling you what the ins and outs of your job and what it's going to require of you, you are no longer an infant. But you exchange phone numbers and you tell him, look, man, can I call you sometime if I'm, if I run into something I don't understand? That's just intelligent, man. You think presidents just take charge and they don't never communicate with the one that was there before them? The only one who's stupid enough to do that is Donald Trump. Anyway, what I look like standing up here talking about I'm the Son of Man and never confer with Jesus, never confer with Muhammad, never confer with Moses to make sure that I ain't tripping. And anytime you don't have respect for those who held that position before you, you don't belong in that position. That's just plain. So.
So you have a few questions.
Yes.
The first question is from Shang Bang Gang. And he asks, does it matter if Farad Muhammad was from India or Arabia?
Not really, because those are just names, brother. We didn't call the earth India. We didn't call it Arabia, and we didn't call it none of that. We called it Asia. Every place, Asia means earth. You see? And so, we know that Master Farad Muhammad was from the earth, so it don't make no difference what part. And even that, it wasn't his flesh that made him God. It was the knowledge that his father put in him. That was what made him God in person. Truth in that person. Now, what was the other question?
First he says, I visited the mosque for the first time Sunday. Is the NOI wrong?
Mm-hmm. Yes, they're wrong. They're even wrong for calling that what they're doing the Nation of Islam. That's not no Nation of Islam. I'm here to bring in the Nation of Islam. Even the Honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't call what he was doing the Nation of Islam. He called it the said Nation of Islam. And he said that we are here bringing in the foundation for a new nation. Well, that's what he brought. He brought the foundation. I'm the master builder. Master builder mean I'm the mind builder, for the mind is the master of the body. And if you don't get this mind that I'm here to build up inside of you, you're not going to be here. Any more questions? Okay. See, that's what you always got. It's just like with the way things grow out of the earth. You have wheat, and then you have wild grass that look similar until you see the fruit of them. Then you see the wild grass ain't nothing like the wheat. They both the same color. They start off green, then they turn brown. But then once you see the fruit from them, then you see it's a big difference. You look at what I'm teaching and look at how I teach, and then look at the rest of these people who call themselves Muslims, and you see that it's a big difference in them and me. They say they are Muslims from their mouth. It's called lip profession. As the Holy Quran says, there are some people who say we believe in Allah and the Sabbath day, the last day, and they are not believers. They seek to deceive Allah and those who believe, and they deceive only themselves, and they perceive not. You see, I don't have to tell you that I believe in all of the prophets and in all of their scriptures. You see me teaching from all of them. You see, I don't have to tell you I have nothing to hide. When the last time you saw me tell somebody or tell people they couldn't ask me a question? How many times have I ever stood up teaching and someone say, I have a question, and I didn't stop to let you ask your question? You're not teaching if the student can't talk back, if the student can't ask you questions, if they need to know some understanding about what you're saying. Well, then how are you teaching them? No. Don't go like that. Any more questions?
Yes, sir. Simon,
Yes, sir.
you just address those who may have a medical need, like medicine that they're taking during Ramadan and that kind of thing.
If they have medicine they taking during Ramadan, take your medicine. And also if you need to eat with it, to eat. Anything that we are doing, like Jesus said about the Sabbath day, as he said, the Sabbath was made for man. Man wasn't made for the Sabbath. Anytime you have a ritual that fails to serve for the betterment and the good of man, you need to throw that ritual away. If it's not helping us to be in good health, if it's not helping us to be better people, then what are we practicing it for? No, if you have a schedule of taking medicine, take your medicine. Do you understand? All right. I ain't hung up in nobody's ritual. No, and I don't want you getting hung up on rituals. Am I clear? You got cold? Turn the heat back on. Go flip that thing up to heat.
Sir, the brother has another question.
Yes.
And he asks, are there any other scriptures besides the Bible and Quran?
Not that I know of. The Holy Quran says this, it's complete, that Allah is, Muhammad was the seal. As it says, Muhammad is not the father of any of your men. Like many people thought Muhammad was the author of Islam. Muhammad was no author of Islam. And he's not to be referred to as the father of any of our men. Abraham has that title. The father of the faithful. So Muhammad is not the father of any of your men, but he is the messenger of Allah and the seal. As the Bible says, seal up the book. Muhammad is the seal of the prophets. That's why everything that you hear people saying about the Bible or whatnot, the Holy Quran stops you from being able to lie on Jesus. Like people said, Jesus was God, and Jesus never told you no such thing. He didn't tell you to worship him and Mary. They getting up in there, bowing down the statue supposed to be Jesus and Mary. Jesus never told you to do that. On the day when Allah will say, "Oh Jesus, did thou say to men, worship me and my mother in derogation of God?" He said, "Never could I have said what I had no right to say. I said not to them, but what thou didst command me. As the Father commanded me, so I speak." That's in the Bible. The Holy Quran verifies that. Jesus never said anything of himself. It was all what Allah gave him to say. So, was there another question? Now, I want to tell you something about it. Did someone say something? Mute your phone back, brother. Okay. Just remember, grace is something that's given to you that don't have to be given. It's not something you earned. It's something that it's just like you go to in front of a judge and it may be time for you to pay a ticket or whatnot, and you go there and with a sob story or not just a ticket, it may be some other thing you supposed to do, and the judge will say, "Well, I tell you what, the court is going to indulge you, and how much more time do you need?" Depending on your attitude. I learned a lot about how to conduct myself as a judge by watching the judge before me. I have seen some decent judges in this world as judges go. I've seen some that I have great respect for. And I learned. I mean, you know, I had never been no judge before. So I study and I watch others, especially since this world was a shadow of the world to come. A shadow may not be a perfect silhouette, but at times it is a perfect silhouette. And as I like the way they worded the preamble to the Constitution. If we could have maybe 5 extra minutes, that'd be good. And it starts off. It says, "We, the people of the United States." Didn't say we, the people of America. It said, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union." Those are good words. Don't make no difference because the white man said it. Even if he didn't mean it, it's still good words. because that's what all humanity needs. A more perfect union. A more complete union. We will never have a complete union with an incomplete mind. We can't walk around cyclops for all our life. One-eyed. Got a great natural eye. And blind in our spiritual eye. And that's why there ain't no peace. And that's why no union. The union needs to be perfected. So to bring about a more complete union, they set up a constitution. Just like a child, when they can't walk, their parents made them a walker and put them in it. So they could, regardless of how they go, they can't fall. Because that walker ain't gonna let them fall. And by them not being able to fall, they have the courage to try to practice walking because they can't fall. You understand? The law does that. Look what they just found in, what was that? What's that state? Was it Virginia? They found the people cheating on the mail-in ballots. Anyway, now they about to, they done put a stop. They ain't certifying that election. Somebody trying to do the right thing. Because they understand that maybe the wrong thing may be in your favor this time. But what happens when the pendulum swings over and the wrong thing is against you and you let that wrong go when it was in your favor? But what happens when the other side do it? I think the best thing to do is don't let no wrong get involved in the future of your nation. North Carolina? Okay. That tells you that there are people in this country that still believe in right. Huh? Well, then there's hope then, ain't it? If you find 50 righteous, what did he say he would do? Well, it's more than 50 in here that's trying to be right. You know, Abraham didn't have no scriptures. Abraham didn't practice righteousness according to what these scriptures have. He didn't have them. But he was willing to trust God and do whatever God said. So God said it like this. If I had given Abraham these scriptures, he would have followed them to the letter. He didn't have them. But because he trusts me, I will account that for righteousness. So it was accounted to him for righteousness because he trusted God. And they even memorialized that statement in America. As good as saying that we had a song you say, give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion. Give me that old time religion, Lord. It's good enough for me. Well, Abraham's religion is the old time religion. In God we trust. Huh? And he was the father of many nations. We made all nations from one blood. Huh? One righteousness. And Abraham was the model. So everybody who practicing and really hungry and thirsty for righteousness, Well, Abraham is the father of that. Do you understand? That makes us family. So, that's, let's see here. Oh, beautiful, far heroes prove in liberating strife. More than sell their country love and mercy more than life. America, America, may God your gold refine, and may all your success be numberless, and every gain divine. And in school, we used to sing it like this. Oh, beautiful, for spacious sky, for amber waves of grain, whose purple mountains, you know they stand just like great majesty. Up above the fruited plain, I'm talking about America, oh, North America. God, he done shed his grace on thee to crown your good in one brotherhood, from the Atlantic to the Pacific, from a sea to shining sea. Somebody can help me sing it. America, ooh, America, my God, he shed his grace on thee to crown your good with the brotherhood, yeah, from sea to shining sea. And we are thankful to Allah. I used to love to hear Ray Charles sing that. And, I thought about it. And when I was a child, I didn't think that I need to be singing that. I'm talking about a child in Islam. But it's nothing wrong with singing about your homeland. Nothing wrong with giving thanks for where you was born. Huh? Where all of the food we eat come from? Right up underneath our feet here, huh? See? So, I don't know who wrote it, some white person, I guess. But do that make it not be beautiful just because they wrote it? I see they play some of Marvin Gaye's stuff on the commercials. They be playing Motown music all the time. They don't care because we made it. It's still nice. I say to the family of President Bush, you got a lot to be thankful for. For what I heard from different people that I respect, he was a good father. And I lived to see his presidency. And even though he was a Republican, he was not the kind of Republican that cared more about a party than he did for his country. And he's not a bad man to emulate. So, and you hear people all the time talking about how he cared about people. We need a lot more of that. There's a song, I remember the song People. It says, people who need people. They are the luckiest people in the world who understand that we need people. So treat each other like you want to be treated. Respect each other like you want to be respected. And care for others as you would like others to care for you. And you will discover that you can't live life any better than that. Allah is the best knower. And it's his word that said, as you would that men do to you, do ye likewise unto them. That's the way of peace. So, may Allah bless us.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
The brother here has some more questions.
Yes, what is the question?
The first one is, he says, Jesus said, you will not know a prophet by his followers. What does that mean?
I ain't never read where Jesus said that. Jesus never said nothing like that. I don't know who told you that, but I ain't never read that in the gospel. You can tell me where you found that. But no, you really don't know a messenger of God by how many people following him. If that was the case, you wouldn't even be talking about Jesus today, because those 12 that claimed they was following him all ran out on him. But it's not about how many followers a person have that determines whether they are God's messenger. No. As he that is of God hears and understands God's word and obeys it. And he even told you in Numbers how to, or in the under the Torah, that if a prophet tells you a thing and that thing comes to pass, then you know he's true. If it does not, then you know he's a false prophet. Do you understand? And that's in the book. That's not something that I made up. But no, I've never heard Jesus say what you just said there. Y'all stop letting people tell you that messengers of God or prophets said things without showing you where they said it at. What was the other question?
Yes, how was Adam, peace be upon him, able to sin, since he was made perfect by God?
No, you don't know what you're talking about. It tells you that Adam was the man of sin. It says, as in Adam, all died. And then you found out Adam was the devil. And that's what the Holy Quran teach you. It says, when thy Lord said to the angels, I'm going to place a ruler in the earth, they said, wilt thou place in it such as make mischief in it and shed blood, while we celebrate your praise and extol your holiness? He didn't say, no, I'm not finna make a devil. He said, surely I know what you know not. So he understood something that they didn't understand, that in order to get the cure for a disease, you got to first have the disease. And in order to get a perfect righteous mind, you got to first have a need for it. And that's what the devil was made for, to create the need for a perfect mind. And now a perfect mind has been produced. It is done. I am Alpha and Omega. I'm the first and I'm the last. The first man, Adam, was made a living soul. That's the devil. And it was not spiritual, but natural. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit. That's the prophets and messengers. And the two of them, from those two, God made one new man, one new mind. That's the one that's in me. So now, any more questions?
And he says in Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 16, and he asks, why are we paying for the sins of Adam?
We're not paying for nobody's sins but our own. What you talking about? When you do wrong, you ain't paying for somebody else's sins. You paying for your own sins. That's the lie you've been told by all of these other people. But, you know, the only way you paying for somebody else's sins was when you let somebody else teach you and adopted their way of doing things, and then it became your sins, and you got it from them. Just like somebody who have the flu, and you go there and let them cough all in your face and whatnot. Next thing you know, you blaming them because you got the flu. No, blame yourself. It's your flu now. You see? So likewise, don't say you getting punished for somebody else's sins. You ain't getting punished for nobody's sins but your own. Yeah. Anything else? And
someone whose screen name is Stop the Violence Chicago asks, how do I find out my life's purpose?
Your life's purpose already been laid out for you. I'm the Lord, and you were told that in Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter and the 13th verse. It says, let us hit the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty or purpose of man. Now, and that goes along with what the rest of them said. It's what Paul said over there. He said, the head of every man is Christ, and the head of Christ is God. And what is the duty of the body? To obey the head, right? That's the whole purpose of the body, is to do the will of the head. Well, okay. So it's all there. You know, talking about what is your purpose? Your purpose is to obey me as Allah ordered you to. He said, when he completed me, he said, when I have made him complete and breathed into him of my spirit, humble yourself and submit to him. So, any more questions? Okay. So Allah told me that most of you are not going to do it. He said, son of man, they're not going to hear you because they wouldn't hear me. If you believe in the Holy Scriptures, you have no choice but to believe in me. If you don't believe in the Holy Scriptures, I have no doubt that you will not believe in me. So you are warned. May Allah bless us, keep us safe and in our right minds. May Allah's Assalamu alaikum.
Your conference recording has stopped.